Quantum tunneling and the Tollan Phase device. All right, today we're going to connect one of sci-fi's absolute coolest gadgets to a real quantum phenomenon. One that literally powers the stars above our heads.
Okay, let's just jump right in. Have you ever wished you could just walk through a wall? I mean, come on, it's the ultimate superpower, right? The ultimate cheat code for reality. Just phasing right through solid stuff.
Well, if you're a fan of Stargate SG-1, you know this isn't just a fantasy. It was the signature tech of one of the most memorable and, let's be honest, stubborn civilizations they ever met.
So let's talk about the Tollan. These guys were brilliant, way ahead of us technologically. But they were also super cautious, almost paranoid. They had this one big rule: never, ever share technology with less advanced cultures. Because, they'd seen it go horribly wrong before. And that whole attitude just made their tech, especially one little gadget, so much more interesting.
And this was their masterpiece. A little device you wear on your arm that lets you become totally intangible. You could walk through walls, doors, even the hardened iris protecting the Stargate itself, like you were just a ghost.
Okay, so this sounds like pure fantasy, doesn't it? It completely breaks the laws of physics as we know them. Or does it? Here's the crazy part. Our actual universe runs on rules that are just as strange, if not stranger. And to understand it, we got to look at a massive puzzle right in the middle of our own solar system.
We all learn in school that our sun is a giant fusion reactor, right? It smashes hydrogen together to make helium. Simple enough. But for the longest time, there was a huge gaping hole in that theory.
So, inside the sun's core, you've got all these protons. They're all positively charged. And, just like trying to push the same ends of two magnets together, they repel each other with this incredible force. They just do not want to get close. This force, this invisible wall between them, is called the Coulomb barrier.
And here's the problem. According to classical physics, the physics of our everyday world, the sun just isn't hot enough. There's not enough energy in its core to overcome that repulsive force and slam those protons together. So by all the old rules, our sun shouldn't even be on. It should just be a cold, dark ball of gas. But clearly it's working.
So how in the world does the sun burn? Well, it turns out it uses this absolutely bizarre loophole in the rules of reality. It basically cheats. And that cheat has a name: quantum tunneling.
This is where things get really, really weird. Quantum tunneling is this core idea in quantum mechanics that says, down at the tiniest levels, particles can just ignore the rules. Barriers that should be impossible to cross suddenly aren't.
Okay, let's break this down with a simple analogy. In our world, the classical world, if you have a ball and you want to get it over a hill, you have to give it enough energy to roll all the way up and over, right? If you don't, it just rolls back down. The hill is an absolute barrier. But in the quantum world, it's different. A particle doesn't have to go over the hill. There's a tiny but very real probability that it can just appear on the other side. Poof, like it teleported. The barrier isn't a solid wall. It's more like a game of chance. And that right there, that's exactly what's happening in the sun. The protons don't have the energy to climb over that repulsive barrier. So every now and then, one just tunnels right through it. It doesn't happen every time, but it happens just often enough to start the fusion reaction that powers our entire solar system. Think about that. Quantum tunneling is literally the reason that the sun shines.
Okay, so let's circle back to Stargate and the Tollan. Now that we know about this freaky quantum loophole, their phase device starts to sound, well, a little less like pure fantasy, doesn't it? In fact, the writers were hinting at exactly this. The idea is that the device allows the user to quantum tunnel through solid matter. It's not magic, it's not making you a ghost, it's just manipulating the fundamental rules of physics on an unbelievable scale. So how might a device like this actually work? Well, theoretically, it'd have to do two incredible things. First, it would need to somehow temporarily weaken that repulsive electromagnetic force, the thing that stops your hand from going through a table. Then, for step 2, it would have to crank up the probability of quantum tunneling to almost 100%, letting all the particles in your body just slip through the gaps in the wall's atoms. Yeah, it's crazy advanced stuff, but it's grounded in a real, observable phenomenon.
And here's the kicker. This isn't just some abstract thing that happens in stars or in sci-fi shows. We actually use quantum tunneling right here on Earth in tech you probably use every day.
Take modern computers and electronics. There are these tiny little components called tunnel diodes, and they use quantum tunneling to switch circuits on and off at insane speeds, way faster than a normal transistor could ever hope to go. But if you want a really mind-blowing example, look at the scanning tunneling microscope. This thing is incredible. It has a superfine needle that gets incredibly close to a surface but never actually touches it. Instead, electrons literally tunnel across the gap from the surface to the needle's tip. By measuring that tiny flow of electrons, we can create unbelievably detailed maps of a surface, right down to the individual atoms. We are literally seeing the atomic world because particles are breaking the rules and tunneling through empty space.
So it's pretty amazing, right? We start with a cool piece of tech from a sci-fi show, and we end up looking at the fundamental operating system of reality itself.
Quantum tunneling really is the ghost in the machine. It's the secret sauce that powers the stars. It's the trick that lets our most advanced microscopes see individual atoms. And yeah, it's the little seed of scientific truth that lets our imaginations run wild with stories about walking through walls.
And that kind of leaves you wondering, doesn't it? If walking through walls has some basis in real, even if it's super bizarre quantum physics, what other sci-fi dreams are out there that are just physics we don't understand yet?